All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel again. Thank y'all so much for coming over. Got this video here. Sean Diddy Combs' family reacts outside courthouse following verdict. I feel like there's going to be a lot of things that is going to come out today. We're still trying to find out if the judge is going to release him. I don't know when they're going to get to that decision. Or even if they will entertain that. Again, he has been found guilty on the lesser charges, which has the maximum of 10 years. So 2 of those, 20 years, we know that. I'm just trying to see what else they're going to talk about, and if they're going to, if they think that the judge will release him. Because you got to think about him being a flight risk and all that stuff. So, we ain't going to waste no more time. Let's jump right into it.
And after nearly a 2-month trial with 34 witnesses and hours of salacious testimony, a jury of 8 men and 4 women finds Sean Diddy Combs not guilty. The judge is currently deciding right now whether Combs will actually be released today. His defense arguing that since the music mogul was acquitted of the most serious crimes, he should be able to go home. Once court was adjourned, family members cheered today's verdict. Combs' son, Christian, telling ABC News how happy he is.
Hey, yo, we love y'all. We love everybody watching. So happy. Pop's coming home. God bless. God bless the whole world.
What was going on?
I mean, listen to the words he just said. Maybe he's saying coming home because he's not getting life in prison, unless they know something that we don't. But this is expected. Nobody's going to be surprised at the family reacting like this, especially him. I'm wondering what's going to happen with the lawsuit that is filed against the other brother, though, because it was alleged that it was some stuff going on. It's some crazy times, crazy world we're living in right now. And I just feel like as long as evil continues to prevail, I was just, in my head, I was just thinking about Cassie, how she literally got on that stand and was so vulnerable. And like the whole world saw her, what happened to her. And then she get up there and talk about the things that happened to her. And it's literally nothing happened. Sheesh.
Through your head when the verdict was read? Happy.
Joining me now, Irina Roy, just outside court, legal contributor Bernarda Villalona, and also senior entertainment reporter Kelly Carter. All right, Rena, do we have any update on whether the judge will decide to release Combs at this hour?
Kira, no decision quite yet from the judge. Just a couple of minutes ago, though, I can tell you we saw the Combs family van pull up to court once again, presumably to hear this decision on whether or not Combs will be released. The deadline that the judge gave both the prosecution and the defense just passed a couple of minutes ago. They were set to turn in their letters at 1 p.m. So for the last couple of hours, they've been working on their cases, both sides, for and against his release. The defense wants to see Combs walk out of those golden doors here behind us. They say that because he was acquitted of the more serious charges here, that he should go home and be with his family. But prosecutors have argued that he's a flight risk, and they say that he is still facing up to 20 years in prison on these lesser charges. They are arguing he should be held until his sentencing, Kira.
So, Bernarda, if Combs does stay in custody, how much jail time do you expect he would actually serve?
So in terms of if the judge does decide that Sean Combs remains in custody pending sentencing, the judge will ultimately determine what his sentence is. So you have to think that the sentencing is not going to take place in another week or two. We're talking about months from now that the sentence will take place. And in terms of all the time that he's already been in custody, he's going to get credit for that time. So no matter what amount of sentence the judge sentences him to, he'll get credit for about the 9 months that he has been in custody. Yes, he faces a maximum of 10 years. years on each of those counts. Highly unlikely that this judge is going to max Sean Combs out. He can give him probation, he could give him time served, or give him something more of a year, 2 years, or even 3 years on each of these counts.
So, Kelly, how does this...
That's crazy, too, because when I reacted to that video with Judge Mathis, he was just saying up until now that from what he heard with everything in the trial, that he said, I think he would give, did he say like 3 to 5 years, or I forget. But, you know, even he was saying he don't know about the racketeering and stuff like that. It's just, you know, when you're dealing with these people in this industry, you're always going to have like a weird feeling, and you know, because of the power that they possess, you just don't know if things are fair or right. I guess we'll know when we see what happens with the sentencing. Like the fact that she said she highly doubts that they're going to give him the max is very, very telling. Very telling. You know, is it because of who he is? If this is just a regular Joe Schmo, what is he getting? You know? So I'm telling you, if they release him, boy, oh man, this is wild.
Verdict impact Combs' legacy as an entertainer, as a music mogul moving forward, you think?
I think it does impact his legacy, because we have to talk about this in addition to talking about his 3 decades as being a pop culture icon. You know, this is a human who has touched every facet of business, of industry, you know, politics, film, TV, music, Broadway, spirits, fashion, you know, but we also now have to talk about this case and the role that that plays and that legacy. And I think it's significant because unfortunately people are going to be able to unhear some of that testimony that they read, and they're most certainly going to be able to unsee that video footage from that 2016 Intercontinental incident between him and Cassie Ventura. And I think that that's going to be part of the conversation moving forward.
And
I feel like you got to think about this. The world saw the video, but how many people had witnessed Diddy doing stuff? You know, a lot of people knew how he was. A lot of people know how the industry is. So you got to remember, we're on the outside looking in. There's this big old, like this huge industry bubble. It's huge. So for him to succeed in life, it's like those are the only people that you need. The people who are a part of it. You know what I mean? And again, he still has money. So people are still going to do things for money. You know, his legacy can be whatever he wanted to be at this point. That's why you still see people saying free Diddy and all this stuff. You know, you got all these celebrities who was at these parties who didn't really speak out, didn't say nothing. You know, if this man gets released, how many text messages you think he's going to be getting? Yo, congrats, man. It's good to see you out. Where were you guys during the case? You know what I mean? So I feel like to some degree, his legacy is going to be impacted, but I mean, people still listen to R. Kelly. So,
Rena, has there been any reaction from prosecutors or witnesses so far on the verdict?
Yeah, well, Kira, prosecutors say that they are going to fight for substantial prison time for Sean Combs. It remains to be seen what that looks like, but they did release a statement earlier today thanking the alleged victims in this case for coming forward, saying it's not easy to share those harrowing stories. And we know that the prosecution's star witness was Cassie.
And ain't nobody gonna be speaking out now. You had Cassie get up there, Jane get up there, the who else? Mia, Brianna, you had all these people get up there and say what they said and not guilty for that stuff. So what do you think these other people who may be going through the same thing, what do you think is going through their heads right now? This is why they say a lot of people don't speak out.
Ventura, Combs' ex-girlfriend, her attorney spoke outside of court shortly after the verdict, and he says that he's proud of her courage. He says that she is in a good place and she's happy with this outcome. Take a listen.
Huh?
The reaction is that we're pleased that he's finally been held responsible for 2 federal crimes, something that he's never faced in his life. He still faces substantial jail time. Of course, we would have liked to have seen a conviction crimes in RICO, but we understand beyond a reasonable doubt is a high standard, and we're just pleased that he still faces substantial jail time.
And he also credits her for paving the way for other alleged victims to come forward. Remember, Combs is still facing more than 6 civil lawsuits, so his legal troubles are far from over, Kira.
Yeah. And we'll be following him as well, of course. Bernarda, what impact do you think this verdict will have now on future cases similar to Combs?
So in terms of what impact this verdict will have on future cases, I think the prosecution has to rethink how it applies racketeering conspiracy, because first off, when racketeering RICO came out, it was more for mob bosses or gang activity to try to get an enterprise, hold them accountable and not let individuals get off simply because they're not being taken into account with co-conspirators or using their businesses in order to uplift their enterprise, their criminal enterprise. But I think the prosecution is definitely going to take another look of how it's being applied, racketeering conspiracy.
All right, Rena, Bernarda, Kelly, thank you all so much. And tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern, ABC will release a 1-hour special that will explore the highly anticipated verdict.
Yeah, man. Guess we gotta wait and see. That's gonna be more breaking news. Like him being released. And I'm wondering what's going to happen with these civil suits. Are they going to magically go away? I'm just trying to think moving forward, because I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how much jail time he's going to get, but I'm just wondering for Diddy, what woman out there is going to get in some type of relationship with him? You know, who's going to be the next woman to date him, knowing all of these things? It's going to be somebody. It's going to be somebody. Someone said probably get like 5 years probation. Boy, I'm telling you. I'm just trying to think, like, again, everybody in the situation knows what really happened. All we're doing on the outside is speculating and guessing and trying to, give our best analysis with the information that's given to us. But they all know what really happened. It's just crazy to me that, one of the biggest things for me was that his team even agreed to how violent he can be with all the domestic stuff. And it just seems, again, that people are okay with that, like, yes, he did all these things, but he didn't do those things. So, yeah, that's still so crazy to me. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to try to catch up as much as I can with videos, because news is just going to be coming out all day long. Um, but I'm just very curious to see if they're going to release him, and what will that do? What will he do? You know, because a lot of people are probably nervous and scared, shaking in their boots. Is he gonna come after me? Appreciate you guys coming over and watching, man. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Peace out.